It's this leadership team, you see here, that will manage every aspect of the government's plan to keep New Zealanders safe and well and to manage the sustainability of the nation. We know this is a difficult time for New Zealanders, and this leadership is a critical part of the government's plan to support us all. As the all-of-government controller of the leadership team, and I should say my name is John Ombler, I'm joined by the Director General of Health, Ashley Bloomfield, Police Commissioner Mike Bush, who's responsible for strategic operations oversight, Sarah Stuart-Black over here, who is the Director Civil Defence Emergency Management, and Dr Peter Crabtree, who's here, who is responsible for all-of-government strategy and policy. There has been, and there is, an enormous amount of work underway to ready New Zealand for this management of COVID-19. The Ministry of Health has been shouldering much of this effort to date, but this issue goes way beyond a public health issue. Its impacts are wide-ranging. The COVID-19 National Response Leadership Team is supporting the great work that Health has done and is broadening the effort. Our leadership team is pulling together the many agencies across government that will enable us to slow and stop the spread of this virus. Our team has been running for about 2 weeks, and the National Crisis Management Centre has been activated since Thursday the 12th of March. We have multiple streams of work underway in policy, operations, communications and in the regulatory space. We have a very large number of public servants working on our COVID-19 response, often alongside local government and the private sector, to develop workable solutions for the challenges ahead. All of this work is urgent, and we endeavour to deliver at pace. As the Prime Minister said, we have a window of opportunity to break the chain of community transmission and contain the virus. This will allow us to protect New Zealanders as much as possible. It's clear that there'll be significant disruption to everyone, but we're acutely aware that the alternative is far worse. The Prime Minister said earlier this afternoon that essential services will continue to run. Let me explain which services are considered essential. They include the health sector, any entity involved in the COVID-19 response, planning or logistics, or that has civil defence and emergency management functions. Key public services, transport providers including Kiwi Rail, New Zealand Post and courier drivers and freight providers, teachers to provide essential services, public safety and national security staff, building and construction workers, utilities and communications personnel including news media and supply chains, supermarkets and pharmacies, social services, financial services, food producers, biosecurity and animal health staff. Now this list is not prescriptive and it can and will be reviewed. We have a call centre where people can ring in for clarification and a process to continue to update it as may be needed. I make a point though that if people are looking for a lot of exceptions, that undermines the intent of this, which is to stop people mixing and contacting with other people as far as we possibly can. Just talking about the border for a moment, the influx of people into New Zealand has significantly reduced. There'll be a continuation of processing people on arrival, with health officials continuing to screen. As people enter, they will be required to go into self-isolation. If people live close to where they land, the intent is that they can go directly home. If they live a distance from the point of landing, other self-isolation arrangements will be necessary. With goods at the border, the focus is on keeping imports and exports going to the maximum extent possible. We'll do everything to continue supply chains, and I expect this to occur. There are a number of information sheets already up on the covid19.govt.nz website and more in development. Just as an indication, there's one about staying at home and what it means, another about essential businesses, which contains the list I've just talked about, non-essential businesses and what they should do, mass gatherings and the cancellation of those, education, which includes a hyperlink to the education website, access to healthcare, which will be very important for people, public transport and domestic travel, and the production line is going. So there's more of those as we look at the supply side and delivering them to you, but equally, if there are gaps that we become aware of, we'll continue to fill those with information. I'm confident that this all-of-government leadership is the best way to support New Zealanders during this time of economic and social disruption. Together, us and the community will be able to unite against COVID-19 and put New Zealand in the best position for recovery. Now, I'm very happy to take questions. If I can answer them, I might. I'm more likely to defer to one of the leadership team. Yes, let's take here. Thank you.
Can you just clarify exactly what time the lockdown does start?
The lockdown, the Prime Minister's words, I think, were immediately.
No, level 4 lockdown.
Oh, level 4 lockdown. I think we'll notify that closer to the time. There's work we need to do. The Prime Minister, I think, used the term 48 hours, so it'll be something of that nature, but we'll be absolutely precise about it in due course.
Have you been briefed on a current run on supermarkets, and
Yes.
at what point are you going to step in and regulate entry to them?
The Prime Minister made clear that people did not need to do that. I think we can reiterate that. There's plenty of food to go around. People will be able to visit supermarkets. It's unfortunate that people are not heeding the messages that they've been given. I know that the police are aware of the issue of the run on supermarkets, and supermarket people are talking to them. I hope we don't need to get to the point of calling for assistance. Let's hope that New Zealanders do the right thing.
At what point do you call them in, Mark?
I can't give you an answer to that now. We'll see.
What is the role of the Defence Force from now?
The role of the Defence Force, I'll defer to Mike Bush to answer that question, because he's been working with the Chief of Defence Force about the ways in which they may be able to be used in the next stages. Mike.
Thanks very much. The Defence Force have already been working with us in terms of this command. They provide great knowledge, expertise around logistics, around intelligence and around operations. So they are already part of our Operations Command Centre. I have been talking to the Chief of Defence to understand exactly, get a stocktake of what resources they have immediately available. Hopefully we'll never need the Defence Force, but you always want to be prepared. So they're quite willing at our direction to work alongside us while we're out in the communities. Some of the points you've raised are about ensuring that when we start being out there in the communities, it's about education and encouragement. We don't want to get to a place where we have to enforce these restrictions, but we will if required. And if we require extra people to work alongside us, the Chief of Defence is very happy to stand up his people.